there are a number of coal deposits in South Africa that have not been developed or are underdeveloped. And so of the 19 recognized coalfields, probably 7 or 8 are in production. The others are either not in production or haven't been looked at all. And an example would be the Springbok Flats coalfield, which has never produced coal, but it is a huge coalfield. So the idea was to put together a brochure showing the, shall we say, the framework and of each of the individual coalfields that we felt needed investigation. And the purpose of that is to give potential investors and the government an idea of where our coal might come from and where the opportunities lie. Some of the coalfields, like the Springbok Flats, have negatives or supposed negatives in terms of having high-grade uranium associated with it. Problem there is a technical one as to whether you can separate out the uranium from the coal and either burn the coal without contaminating the environment, or perhaps just mine the uranium and later perhaps the coal. So that was the whole idea of looking at this, and the idea is to put forward these documents in easy reading form and basically, shall we say, compiling all the information that we could get that's in the public domain generally, and for potential investors and for the country.
The coal initiative that Paul's just been talking about was basically prepared in order to try and look at the specific coal fields in South Africa and how they can be utilised both for export and for power, in terms of being sent through for burning through the power stations. And for that there's obviously an economic trade-off between one and the other, but there's a much bigger picture than that, and that's the whole of southern Africa, for which I think the Tet coal field in particular in Mozambique is a very good example of a coal field that was well known, the Maltese coal field, and that had not been developed, and in fact South African companies had turned it down. And now, because of the whole change in commodity prices and the whole issue to do with power regionally, that has been developed by Vale, and the railway line is being repaired and restored to the point where there's an offshore loading point, and that coal is going to be exported. And that's the same in Botswana, in southern Kenya, Tanzania and surrounding countries. So the coalfields in South Africa must be set within that broad context, and the extent to which power is utilised by all the countries. I think there's generally a process towards where countries like, say, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique and going further north are not necessarily going to sing just to the tune of the way that Eskom and NERSA in South Africa decide on the way that power should be firstly purchased, distributed and priced. And I think there's a good likelihood that that's going to change significantly in the next couple of years.